Hey friends, it's Dimitri with Nebraska Streetwear. So my brand just turned around 6 years old this week on March 22nd. That's kind of like the birthday that I consider for my brand. I did start the brand and kind of start developing it before that date, but that's when I launched the website. And then even another important date would be like when I actually formed a legitimate business like a LLC, and that was later on in May, I think a year after that. So that could be considered a birthday as well for the brand. But generally, I like to do the start of the website, the launch day. So that's the day that I started my brand, and that was 6 years ago this week. And in a couple of days, I'm going to do a drop, and that's going to include a 6 year anniversary shirt. Typically, every year, I've been doing anniversary shirts, and those are always fun and they're limited edition. So if you want to grab one, you can. But for today's video, I wanted to talk about 6 things that I learned from running a brand, and maybe this will be helpful advice for you guys. So the first one is to evaluate your influences. So what this means is that every day we're consuming information from various sources, whether that's the news, TV, your phone, other people, social media. And what you have to do as a business owner, and as I think generally like life advice, is that you really need to evaluate what you're consuming and really guard your mind and your heart, because a lot of times you can be consuming information that's detrimental to your outlook on life, and that's really going to impact the way you run your business. And I have felt this and experienced this firsthand. There's been times in my life where I've consumed too much bad news and whatever's going on in the world, and that would negatively impact the way I think and function in the business and my outlook on the future. Even today, having gotten rid of all of that and blocked it out of my life, like sometimes I have to post something on TikTok, and in my feed something might pop up where someone is just ranting. They're just ranting about what's wrong in the world, what's going on, all the bad actors and the government and around the world and corporations, all this kind of stuff. Immediately, if I hear that, I will block those people, because I do not want those kind of influences and that time suck coming onto me, and basically taking my attention away from reality, right? One aspect of this is that if you consume information through your cell phone, probably a lot of you are consuming information through your cell phone, you are experiencing a mediated version of reality. You're experiencing reality that has never been experienced before, because we live in a sort of social experiment right now. There's never been a time in place in history where so much information, whether good or bad, has been bombarded on us. And we as humans, I believe, are not meant to take in so much information, specifically bad information. So definitely think about what you're consuming, where you're getting your information from, where you're getting your sources from, and who's trying to get your attention, who's bombarding you with stuff. And I would suggest just block that out of your life, because it's not worth it. Yes, you should be, a little bit on top of stuff and be sort of aware of what's going on, but you have to be really careful with getting too much of that stuff and just constantly being bombarded by it. It's not going to do you any good. It's going to negatively impact you. And as a business owner, you have to look at the future in a positive light, because that will basically determine the way you run your business. I promise you it will. The second lesson that I learned is that you have to pay attention to the small things. I picked up this from my past job and mentor, and I would say growing up I was pretty detail oriented, but I got way more detail oriented as I was being mentored and as my business was running and growing, because the little things are the big things. I really like that phrase that I heard from another business locally. There's always a lot of little things that are occurring in your business behind the scenes, or you brush them under the rug, or you're not paying attention to them, and those can really create huge dents in your business, whether that's positive or negative. I'll give you a really simple example. So I'm always trying to optimize my shipping. I'm trying to make stuff better and faster. And it's always a little tiny tweak on, oh, why don't we use this packaging material? Why don't we try this box? That really adds up over time. I've shared many examples of me finding little tiny things with shipping and stuff like that, where if I make a little tweak, then basically the cost will be cheaper, and that adds up to thousands of dollars over the year. Another really simple thing that I did was I tweaked a setting on my website. I've done this multiple times, where basically customers will purchase more items that way because of certain settings on there. And I will explain more of that in the month in review video, one of the tweaks that I did. So those tiny little changes, those little details in your business, in the actual clothing, like paying attention to defects, those can make a substantial impact on your business, and your quality will increase, your revenue will increase, and overall the customer satisfaction in your brand will increase. So don't neglect the small things in your business. Pay attention to everything. Open up your eyes and your ears and your mind, and really get narrowed down on those small details, and you will have tremendous success from that, I think. The third thing that I've learned from 6 years of business is to be honest with yourself. This one is a really hard thing to do. We as humans, we have a tendency to want to ignore problems that we have. We don't want to admit faults that we have. I have many faults myself that I'm working on. It's almost like a defense mechanism, because it exposes our weaknesses, and we want to look strong and tough. We want to think that we're ahead of everything and that we got it all together, but really we don't. So I would suggest to be introspective on yourself, daily, weekly, monthly. Take time away from everything, go on a walk, think about who you are, where you're going, what problems you have, and what you want to be. And this will be basically of tremendous value to you as a business owner and as a person in general. Oftentimes in life, we're just floating by like zombies, and we really don't stop and think. There's so much going on around the world. There's so many people trying to get our attention. There's so many events and things happening, and we are basically living in a world of distraction constantly. We neglect, and as a culture, I think we don't value being introspective, looking inwards, being honest with ourselves. And that's a very difficult thing. The more honest you are with yourself, the more success you're going to have in life, and the better relationships you're going to have. Everything will improve if you really look inwards and are honest with yourself. The fourth thing that I've realized more recently than before is that you are as much of a content creator as you are a clothing brand. So what this means is that, yes, one of your biggest focuses should be creating quality products and shipping that from point A to point B, and point B being the customer. So getting stuff done and stuff out in a timely manner, that will give you a recipe for success for your clothing brand. But in today's day and age, and really especially when you start a clothing brand or any business, you have to focus on creating content. Content, I've mentioned this many times before, can be a variety of things. It could be blog posts, social media posts, videos, articles, poems, art, like anything that you put out onto the internet is a form of content. And you have to be having an eye and being focused on creating content. And you don't even have to have a large budget at all, or a zero budget really, to do that. If you're starting out, grab your phone, start taking pictures of your product, have your friend wear your clothing, take a cool 10-second video on your phone and put it on TikTok or on YouTube, and it will gain traction. You might not gain that traction right away. Your views and likes and videos might not be seen right away, but if you constantly, routinely do that every single day, put out content, everything is going to grow in your business. If you don't, it's going to shutter. The attention from your brand is going to be taken away from other people, and your brand might not grow to the size and level that you want it to be, or that you're expecting it to be. It's just the way the society that we live in. That's kind of what you have to do as a clothing brand and a business. You have to get customers' attention, and they will come to your brand. And if your brand gets big enough and successful enough, you might be able to be in a position where you aren't needing to get that attention as much, right? Like, for example, Apple or McDonald's, how much ads or attention do they really need of the customer in order for customers to buy their products, right? I don't need to see a McDonald's commercial if I want McDonald's to know that it's there and that it's available and that it's ready if I wanted fast food, right? Or if my phone broke down, I have an Apple iPhone, I'm not going to be, thinking, oh man, did I see that Apple commercial to remind me to get iPhone? No, my phone's broken. I'm just going to go get an Apple iPhone because I like that company and that's what I have been using since my first phone. So definitely keep that in mind. You are as much as a content creator as you are a clothing brand. The fifth important thing that I've learned from running a clothing brand is you want to surround yourself with counsel, specifically wise counsel. So what this means is that try to get as many people that you know that are very knowledgeable and wise around you. This could be your parents. Maybe your parents have a brand or a business that they've been running. It could be a mentor. It could be someone in a community group that you're in that you know that's successful. It could even be sometimes your friends in some circumstances. So I'll give you an example. Michael, when he's here once in a while to help me run the business, I will be working on something and he'll be like, hey, why don't we try to do this? And I'd be like, wow, I never even thought about that, right? Because sometimes if I'm here by myself, I can have a myopic view on what I'm doing because I'm kind of, I can be lost in my head and I can be doing my routines. But then when I have an outsider come in and have their perspective on stuff, it can oftentimes lead to a better conclusion or outcome. So you can definitely if you have friends that are, somewhat wise and intelligent, they could definitely help you with that. I would say the best thing that you could do is, if it's possible, network and find someone that could potentially mentor you or give you really high level guidance. And that will help you jump and springboard into the future way faster and much more grounded in a sense. Because let's say you find someone with 20 years of experience in business, that's quite a bit of knowledge under their belt that could be very valuable to you. And if you somehow get connected with them, even if you talk to them for just an hour or a day, that could be very beneficial to you and it could help you along the road in your journey. Now, the opposite of surrounding yourself with wise counsel is surrounding yourself with stupid counsel. If you have friends or family members or people that are constantly dragging you down, they're not a beneficial resource in your life, they offer no wisdom. There's a Bible verse where it talks about how, having bad company basically will corrupt your morals. That is very true. If you surround yourself with a bunch of people that aren't uplifting you and aren't pushing you in a positive direction, you're going to go the opposite way. There's a funny phrase. It's like, you are the sum of the 5 people that you hang around with. And in many circumstances, that's very true. So go back to the third point and be honest with yourself and really have an introspective moment and be like, hey, do I need to hang out with these types of people in my life? Are they pushing me to excel and grow as a person, specifically in my business or in other areas in life? If they're not, consider not being around people like that. On a daily or weekly basis, having that be an influence into you. And that kind of relates back to the first point, evaluate your influences, right? The last and final point that I would say is to believe in yourself. I know it sounds cheesy, but really you have to think that you will accomplish something in order to accomplish it. If you back to the first point, if you are consuming negative content or you have negative people around you and they're saying you can't do something, do you think that's going to set you on a trajectory for success or for failure? And at the start of that, you have to first believe in yourself. And then if you surround yourself with people that also believe in you, you're going to be more geared towards success and towards finding solutions and towards growing your brand and becoming successful, whatever that means to you. I remember I specifically remember this moment where I believed in myself and I audibly said, I can do this. I was working at my day job. It was hot outside. I was like mowing the lawn or weed whacking. And I was listening to another clothing brand owner and other business videos just talking about what to do, how to start, all that kind of stuff, kind of like the videos I make for you guys. And I remember I was thinking, like, I can do this. It's really not as difficult as I'm making it out to be. Yes, it's a lot of hard work, but I can do this. I'm physically able and mentally capable to do this. I can work, I can save money, I can invest into my business, into my future, into growing it, into learning. I can do that. So have those words in your forefront of your brain. Say you can. Say you believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself, you will most likely accomplish what you're trying to do. That's important. If you're an athlete and you believe that you can run a sub 6 minute mile, and let's say that you're at like 6:15 right now and you want to get below 6, that is very possible for you to do. If you believe in yourself and you practice, you're going to get there. And believing in yourself is only one part of the equation. So back to point 3, being honest with yourself. Believing in yourself is not going to be enough, but it's important. You have to believe with yourself and you have to put it into action. Once you do those things, you're going to have success in that area. So yeah, those are 6 things that I've learned from 6 years of running a business and my clothing brand. I hope you guys got value out of those things. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll catch you guys later. Thanks.